Hello, everybody. My name is Kin. I'm the CEO of Mintrust. Mintrust is a multi-chain lending protocol that's designed to maximize yields for its users while also providing unprecedented liquidation protection as well. I am honored to be here to moderate this particular panel. We are here to talk about, well, Web3 trends, but specifically, how do we distinguish between what is fundamentally sound, long-term momentum building versus just buzz and hype. And so today we'll be discussing strategies, insights, and trends as well from our esteemed panelists, and to go into how do we distinguish between the two, or can we? So let's kick it off right now, and I'd like to have our panelists give a bit of an introduction to themselves, and I think you're going to have a fun time tonight. A lot of insight. So let's start off with Thang.
Yeah, for sure. Hi, everyone. My name is Tan. I'm the founder of 90A. We are the creator of Coin9 Wallet with 10 million users right now. I think last 2 years, we decided to be more involved with the Viction blockchains, kicking off the rebranding campaigns, and now we're here today with a lot of updates as well. It's been an amazing journey when took in a chain, with less traction back then, and now we head to a stage where we have a lot more active community members, and a lot of things coming up as well. So excited to share about like all the lessons that we've learned, the journey we've been through, and the future moving forward.
Awesome. And Alex?
Hello, everyone. I'm Svanvik. I'm the co-founder and CEO at Nansen. Nansen is an on-chain analytics product, and it helps on-chain investors basically make more money. In brief, we help you discover tokens that the smart money is investing in. We help you manage your portfolio and track all of your holdings across all of the chains that you care about. And we also work very deeply with chains to integrate them. They get, thank you, and to make sure that chains get the ecosystem growth that they need. And so, is it actually me or is it the microphone? Interesting. Microphone. Okay. And so we recently integrated Solana, for example, which has been great to dive deeper into that ecosystem. And we're also going to integrate Viction very soon, which the team is working really hard on.
That's awesome. So why don't we go ahead and kick off with just a little bit of a warm-up. So something about market reflections. Now, we are now in what looks like to be a pretty massive bull run. We've hit Bitcoin all-time highs at this point. Pretty awesome. So what are you guys looking at right now? What do you see as high-level trends? What's keeping you interested? Maybe we could start off with Alex.
Yeah, I think sort of the elephant in the room for crypto for the last weeks and months has been the US election. And it's kind of important to recognize that crypto is a very small market in the world. And when you have these massive forces in the broader world, that influences crypto. And so, you can have whatever opinions you want about the US election outcome, but I think it's very clear that the outcome we got is the most pro-crypto outcome. And so that means we will effectively, I think, be in for a long bull run, which is awesome. And it seems to be like kicking off a bit more aggressively than I thought maybe. I was predicting 100K Bitcoin by the end of November, so we might actually be on track to hit that. But that's actually the big piece, right, in terms of just macro. And then within crypto, I think the other part is because we'll have a more pro-crypto regulatory framework, we will have many more builders come out with their projects in the next months. In fact, I think some of them have been kind of holding back for a while. When the incoming president is going to fire Gary Gensler on day one, that is going to, yes, little cheer for that. That's going to open up the floodgates to a lot of innovation and craziness in crypto. So, as much as we probably don't want to talk about politics, I do think that is very important and probably the most important factor right now. And then of course you have, the Fed lowering rates also, which is good for liquidity. And then maybe the last thing I'll say is we do live in a very highly multi-chain world now. And so to be able to navigate everything that happens in all of these different ecosystems is going to be really, really important and really difficult. So yeah, those are some things that are on my mind when it comes to markets more broadly.
That's excellent. Thang?
Yeah, I think I'm very aligned with what Alex just shared about as well. I think the last couple of days for me is first time ever after 3 years of the bear market and suffer with the market. I think first time ever we have a feeling of the bull market again, where you wake up, you sleep, you wake up and you start seeing your balance just going up, and then it go up quickly, without it is way beyond your expectations, right? I think when I take a look at, and I'm listening to a panel from CZ's, a few weeks ago, from Dubai, it seems like we have a similar patterns than the 4-year cycle in cryptos right now. And if that happens, then maybe 2025 is very similar into with the same patterns than 2021. And with everything happening right now, seems like that would be the way moving forward. However, I think the excitement is just coming to me for quite just very quickly, and then there's another feelings and a lot of worry and concern about in the last 2 and 3 years we're suffering with building a lot of things and not having a lot of tractions and a lot of achievement coming out from all these kind of things that we shift. Headed to the bull market, we have another challenge, which is so many things gonna happen all at once. At every time, every place, and with a limited resources, with a limited measure, how can we make sure that we can capture all these kind of opportunities and upside? That's also an opposite challenge compared to the last couple of years. And I think everything happened right now is so quickly than everyone's imagined. I think Bitcoin is going to 100,000 for sure. But I never imagined it's just happening very quickly in just a matter of days after the election, and now we are 90,000 already. So yeah, good time ahead.
Excellent time. I think today, basically, at least, or maybe the last day, was the largest dollar value increase in Bitcoin ever. And you're right. I mean, there's so many projects that are going to be competing right now. Time and attention, just the attention span is so limited right now, and regulations, the new election cycle, everything's been pushing things forward. Very unique 2025 ahead. So let's continue to the next point. So when we look at Web3, it's been built around a decentralized ethos, kind of access across borders for everybody. At the same time, though, when we look at projects and we look at the sustainability of these projects, how do we start thinking about distinguishing between what is true sustainable, fundamental projects beyond the hype there, and where the hype kind of fizzles out over the course of time? And maybe we can start with Thang. Thang, you have had a history building communities from the very beginning, from when I first met you, right? You have seen how communities grow. You've seen what they look at, what gets them excited, right? And you built it up into having applications that have over hundreds of thousands of users at this stage. So how do you look at this? How do you look at substance versus the hype?
That's a very good question. I think one thing that I've learned along the way that building the 98 and now Viction is that building a crypto communities, a projects, a brand, a tokens. One thing that is super important, and at the end of the day, it's all about value. It's easier said than done when we talk about a value. Building something value and impactful at ability to ship and contribute into so many people's lives is hard, and it's a result of so many effort, the sweat and the blood and the tears of so many people putting for years to make that happen. You like have an ability to create a value. It doesn't mean that you have the value. You have to put your time and effort to make that happen. And sometimes there's a tons of resources, and you're gonna make a lot of mistakes along the way. It's gonna burn you out, and it's not happen overnight. That's the difference. Building something sustainable, I think I think like hype comes and go, but value always stay. And building for everything that we build, no matter that's a wallet, that's a applications, that's a protocol, that's a platform, that's a chain, it should have some kind of value in there. And at the end of the day, like we're building a tech product, but tech product is being built to support and helping other people's lives better. It's not about the tech doesn't matter at all. It's all about like helping other people's lives becoming better and just like helpful in so many ways. It is all about the value. It's all about like and building that kind of value is super tough, and you need to feel a lot of pains and commit so many things in your life into it for many years until that happened to you. Hype comes and go, but value always stay.
I like that phrase. All right, Alex. I mean, with Nansen, right? I mean, you have built a platform that really looks at on-chain data, looks at what users are doing on a regular basis. And I think as we were discussing earlier, you have multiple products. One which is very interesting is your alpha product, which is in fact a community-driven to educate each other about what's taking place, what investors might be very interested in investing in. This is me. So I'm curious, just based on what you've seen, how do you look at on-chain data? How do you look at the way in which this community is using your on-chain data to determine, again, hype versus substance?
Yeah, maybe just one broader reflection to build on what Tan was saying earlier. This is kind of a cliche, but you should build products, or you should solve actual problems with your products, right? This is related to what he said. You have to create something that has value, right? And I think one issue we have in crypto is that we do a lot of this token incentivization, right? Where you have a product and you basically pay people to use the product. And this can be very difficult when you think about hype versus substance, right? If you actually want to find out if you have product market fit, building your product, if you're just paying people to use the product, you might not be solving an actual problem. You might not be creating that value that Tan was talking about earlier. And so you sort of get a lot of noise and less signal when you're building a product, right? So I think it's actually a very basic point, but it's something that you see people forget all the time because it's so much easier to just incentivize usage of your product and then grow the numbers, etc., for vanity purposes. But specifically for Alpha, which is one of the products we have, it's basically a Discord community that comes with one of the subscription tiers for Nansen. And my view has always been that if you want to win as an investor in crypto, you need to look at two things. The first one is you need to look at what's happening on chain. At least from my own experience, that's where I've discovered a lot of the best investments I've made. I minted 40 Bored Apes. That was difficult to say. And I sold them almost all at 3x, which is a terrible idea. But at least I discovered them using Nansen on chain because people were basically minting these very quickly. This was it's at the beginning of the NFT hype, basically. And so you need to have on-chain insights, but you also need to have the network, the social network in a broad sense. And so we created the Alpha offering to complement the on-chain. And so sometimes it's not enough to just look at what's happening on-chain. You need to hear people's perspectives on it. You need to learn about stuff that hasn't come on-chain yet. And so if you have those two things, you have a strong social network of other investors that are smart, that are actively looking at what's happening around them. And then you have the on-chain insights to combine with that. That's basically, I think, a great starting point as an investor to succeed. So that's why we created that product to complement the sort of more raw on-chain product that we have with Nansen.
Very interesting, because we're coming from a product perspective, actually building products, building communities directly, analyzing them on on-chain, having communities that are looking at on-chain data, getting substance around that to make decisions, substance versus hype. So maybe one more just quick follow-up question is, when you look at partners, those that you wish to work with or those you want to build with, right? In the same sense, how do you analyze those projects for the same things, the substance, the hype? What do you typically look at? Maybe I can start with Alex on this.
I do think community is one of the things you have to look at. It's weird with community because obviously there's some degree of hype associated with communities as well. But I think communities that are lasting, there's always something there that goes beyond just hype, right? And we were chatting about Ronin off stage, for example, the Axie Infinity chain. I think that's another very good example of community that's very lasting, right? They've gone through ups and downs as a community. So I think that's one thing to look at. The other thing is maybe going back to what I was saying earlier, does this thing actually make sense, right? Like if you're working, I don't want to mention names, but we of course get sort of partnership requests a lot of the time, and sometimes the fundamental idea just doesn't make sense. Like no one actually needs this product, and I think even if you might get a lucrative deal or whatever because it's VC backed or something, you should basically stick with your own courage and conviction to respectfully decline on such partnerships. And my view is that like 98% of partnership requests probably are not worth your while, generally speaking. Although you do see a lot of partnerships in crypto, it's one of those things that you can like tweet and it's exciting. But the ones that do make sense, I think, should be based on like, are you actually solving a problem for someone? And also, is there a community that believes fundamentally in what this other company that you're partnering with is building? So those would be at least two things I would look at.
Right, and Thang, for you, heading up a blockchain like Viction, Coin98 app, basically having builders come on board. How do you look at it?
I think for me, I think like crypto is such an amazing industry where we we use partnership as a tool to grow on for all the parties, right? I think over the last couple of years, the way that we're doing business and also partnership with other people, I think here's the thought process and when it comes to every partnership. Partnership, in our opinion, is all about having a common benefit, between two parties, and also you have to come in as for us, we have another thing we do care about is having a shared value. So so for us, we want to play long-term games. So if there's a partner, we need to detect that if that partner is going to play a short-term game or long-term game, and based on that judgment, we can figure it out how big and how big the investment and the involvement that we're going to put into this, and I think a lot of times, but however, I think there's violations, and also there's an exception where if the partners, no matter how much the benefit they can add to and bring on the table, if there's no shared values, and I think in some way it's just go opposite in a way that the value that we're trying to aim for, then the answer is always no. But if there's and some of the times, if the on the table we think that even though they're not doing something for us, but we feel that we're also sharing the same value at them, and then it's just something that we can do and not costing a lot of resources and things to do, and that might be something we want to support them as well. But of course, ideally have the same, having partnership that have the same set of value, and also have something to offer on the table is the best. And then also based on the expectation from both sides, short term, long terms, and from there we can decide it on how much involvement, investment we're going to put on the deals.
There's a lot of people reading, I guess, in a lot of the work that we do, right? And you're right, when it comes to marketing, there's a ton of marketing-based partnerships, right, that go on 99% of them basically just to generate that. And we have to often really assess those individuals that we're also working with. So great. Let's go ahead and move on to the next thing, basically. So, we've had a lot of projects that have had generated hype and just ended up fizzling out. We've seen NFTs and even meme tokens, which are doing very well right now as well, right, to even AI projects. So, when it comes to building something that stands the test of time. Is there any one thing that really stands out to either of you that can dictate, you know what, this is one key element that we need to see all projects having that can help them fundamentally build that long-term success? Again, you've talked about community before. Are there other things that you look at?
The one quality that has been the most determinant for my own investment success has been cuteness. So Axie Infinity, very cute. Pudgy penguins, very cute. Moodang, very cute. So I would say that's one universal characteristic. Not all projects need to be cute, but if they are cute, that's bullish.
Great answer. Dang. Aside from cuteness?
For me, that's love. Like, so, I think like whenever like you involve in any like communities and you see like there's somebody who like, even like you put everything aside, they still they still want to like engage with you. It's just like a kind of a religion. That's a kind of very big signals that like this is the way that we can like there's some kind of value in there that you can grab and also support them as well.
Cuteness and love. I like this. I like this.
Very warm and fuzzy.
Exactly. All right, that's the beginning of a bull market, indeed. So let's talk about trends a little bit. So when we look at like active wallet addresses across different chains, right? We're seeing at least I think a significant uptick in a number of them. I was looking even like with Base, I've seen over like 1 million active wallet addresses, right? It's actually
2 million now.
2 million now.
Daily active.
Oh my God, daily. Okay, well then it's certainly grown quite a bit in that case. Yeah. You know, we've seen a few key trends that have been playing themselves out. Again, we talk about memes, AI, DPIN, and others. Like, so when you think about what will help that growth to onboard the next 100 million people onto Web3, right? What are some of the things that you're looking at? Because look, even when we look at say Web3 games right now, right, compared to traditional Web2 games, 5,000, maybe 10,000 daily active users if we're really lucky on that front, right? Compared to hundreds of thousands or millions for the traditional Web2 game. What is it that we really need to look at from a trend perspective to onboard a much larger user base?
Yeah, I think we have to, if we think about the last bull market, right? Think about how dysfunctional it was that people came into the crypto space, they wanted to trade, but then they have to pay like $50 on Uniswap and gas fees, which is a terrible user experience. Like, makes no sense if you just want to make like a $10, $20 swap. And then you have to figure out how to manage your seed phrase, your private keys, and it's very confusing. And people buy the wrong NFTs because someone has made a fake NFT collection that sort of copies another one. So if you just look at this upcoming or this ongoing bull market, I think the one trend is that the infrastructure has just gotten way better since the last cycle. And just the very basic fact that you can actually make trades and pay cents, you know, or less than a cent to make a swap on several different chains or L2s, I think is very fun. It's a very simple fact, but it's very important. The other thing is you see a lot of innovations in the wallet space, right? So I think we all hate seed phrases, at least managing them. And there are now many different paradigms that are coming out, right? Where you have Guardian-based wallets, you have like pass keys, you have social logins now, you have account abstraction. And I think all of these different innovations are just going to make it a lot easier for retail to actually use crypto, right? So it feels like it always builds up every cycle, right? It builds up. You have a huge amount of retail investors that come in typically towards the tail end. And then last time, I feel like they were just met with this kind of crappy user experience. And this time around, I think we'll probably run into new problems, but at least those basic things have largely been solved now. I do think the whole L2 issue is not great, because if you go on Uniswap and you have to pick one of 15 different L2s to swap on, that's not so great. Maybe it changes with Unichain that's coming out very soon. But generally speaking, you know, that's going to maybe add a new level of confusion and poor user experience because you have so many chains. I don't think chain abstraction is like ready yet for prime time for retail investors. So that might be an issue that we will run into, the confusion around that. But generally speaking, I think the trend of the infrastructure just getting a lot better is going to be very important this bull run.
I'm also aligning with like what Alex just said as well. No, I think that's fine. I think like, last cycle when I joined the crypto market since 2017, I think the technologies and also like the infrastructure back then was not ready yet to enable all this kind of thing. In order to like get into the next and onboarding the next 100 million users, or if not a billion users, we need a very good infra that everyone can get into a better financial system. And then what I mean by that is that you're in Thailand right now, and the digital banking system in Thailand is very advanced. I think like you can transfer the money, you can pay like 0 fees, and it just like happen in seconds. I think if we talk about like crypto is becoming a new financial system, it should happen in a similar way. Like it should cheap, it should like fast, and also have a ability to serve like millions and millions and a transaction per second as well. I don't think that we're the current infrastructure is already there yet. However, I think the current infrastructure is already powerful enough to onboarding a lot more users that than we have right now. So we now, I think, like having all the wallet infrastructure that everyone can create a wallet with their emails and social accounts. We have the chains that now on Base and also on Viction offering 0 gas, and there's a lot of paymasters contracts already available too. So on the infrastructure that we can onboarding the next 100 million users, I think we are already there. But like until we get into the billion users, there's like maybe a lot of times. But I think it makes me remember into the thesis that Union Square Ventures have been in like talking about this. There's a infra and dApps cycle thesis where I think the current infrastructure is already ahead of the applications. And in order to like jump into the next level of infrastructure, you need an app that breaks all of this infra until we get into the next level. And then that's what we're lacking of right now. And now getting back to the use case, I think in this space right now, we have so many options and pretty much advanced and usable products to trade crypto. However, the infrastructure for everyone to use crypto is still lacking of like a lot of people and developers to use it. If you take a look at, again, going back to the purpose of crypto, it's all about a new financial system. And in that new financial system, you have you need to make sure that everyone's use the crypto to have a better life, right? So there are people in Vietnam that want to receive the money from the US. The cost to receive the money from the US for $200 is $50. And then now you can just doing one transaction with a stablecoin. It's just a better product. You don't care about whether or not it's a blockchain product or not. It's just cheaper, faster. You don't need it. It don't take days to receive the money, and it's just way better, right? And there's somebody in Laos right now. The inflation is 30% per year. And then they have about 70% of the population have the mobile phone, but only 20% have the bank accounts. And for these people, the ability to access into basic finance, the ability to transfer the money across the world, receive the fundraising, doing a fundraise, receive the money from other people around the world. Even you are very talented people. This kind of this all opportunity is never happened to them. That's all about crypto. And I think that's a tremendous ideas and opportunity for everyone in crypto to tackle. I think for me, there's so much thing that we can build that focus on helping people use crypto more. And payment system, the infrastructure for people to spend the money, remittance, all these kind of things. At the end of the day, people use the crypto. People can use the crypto and pay for all the stuff. That's the day where we can see the next billion users, to onboard and start using the crypto. There's so much opportunity is still open,
And I think like that's also going back to the thesis why we think the combination between Coin wallet as a crypto wallet that allow everyone to create a wallet with social accounts and emails, and having Viction as a infrastructure that allows everyone to transfer the money without a need of a gas fees. And I think recently, just like a couple of days ago, we announced a partnership with like WSPN. They're going to deploy the WUSD on Viction too. And I think like the WUSD on Viction will be the first stable coins that first time ever you experience the concept of you transferring a real digital money without a need of the gas fees. And imagine like, people living in Thailand, in Vietnam, in Laos and Cambodia and Singapore can start like transferring these all as stable coins together across the world. I think that's one experience like we very excited to see a lot more use case be on top of that. And there's a lot of opportunity. And I think like, I'm very excited to, and gonna lend out a lot of support to enable that on Viction. I think when that happens, we're in a very well position to onboarding a lot of users to crypto.
It's fantastic. I mean, the thing is that when we look at blockchain, we have to know exactly how to use it. And that 100 million people that we want to onboard, the idea of account abstraction where you don't have to think I'm using a blockchain. It's purely invisible underneath. You can just do what you want to do. It's an exciting future to think about that, right? Not having to have 2 tokens to transfer all the time, 1 gas, 1 whatever you want. It's like, how do you convince your grandmother to do that? And that's a problem we've had for a very long time.
Just to add one point, because stablecoins were mentioned, right? And stablecoins are probably the product in crypto that has the strongest product market fit, right? People actually find genuine value in using them. They solve real problems. I do think that they also illustrate another potential future for crypto in the sense that we often think of kind of crypto as like a consumer-facing technology somehow, but I think also crypto can work as a more of a back-end technology for fintech products, right? So if we think about what fintech products are, like Revolut and Venmo and so on, you have banks, which are kind of a shit back-end and a shit front-end. And then you have fintech products that have a shit back-end, but they have a nice front-end. And what, for example, Stripe has done recently with acquiring Bridge is that they can take that shit backend and replace it with a good backend, which is stablecoins, right? And so I think stablecoins in that sense could have a very promising future, not even as like consumer-facing products themselves, which I think they will also have a future as, but they can just power existing fintech products that have tens or hundreds of millions of users already.
We're seeing a lot of startups that are actually trying to focus on that particular problem as well. I know Outlier Ventures right now is trying to onboard a bunch of new startups just to do things just like that, also in the RWA space. So absolutely on point. So I guess we're towards the end of our session. And so I'd like to ask each of you one piece of advice, let's say in 10 words. So that you give to Web3 projects aiming to sustain momentum in this ever-changing industry, basically. So within 10 words, what would be your advice? Maybe we can start with
to build a
very sustainable project moving forward, basically focusing on sustainability.
I'm gonna go back into like what I just said at the beginning. It's all about value. Having like the North Star should be focusing on the ability to create a value, and that's always important. That's it.
I like it. Value. All right, Alex.
Do not launch a token too early.
That's amazing. All right.
I think. Do you agree? Or
I agree.
It's hard. It's hard to manage a token. It's hard enough to build great products. You have to manage a token as well.
There's a lot of PTSD, I think, in this entire room.
Product market fit.
All right, guys. Well, thank you very much. We got some really good insight out of this. So, and thank you everyone for participating in this panel discussion. So,
thank you.